Hey y'all, Beth here. Today is day 300 of my carnivore journey, and since I did videos on day 100 and day 200, I just wanted to report in with you on day 300 and let you know how things are going. So obviously things are going pretty well because I am still at this thing and loving it. I am still pain-free in my joints. The nodules that I've had on my fingers are even starting to go down. Now the pain went away early on, but the nodules have remained. And so now I even have less of these arthritic nodules on my fingers. I haven't had any pain in my hips or my neck or my lower back or my knees. So all of the pain in my joints seems to have resolved itself, so I feel amazing. I can go on walks without limping. I can play tennis for hours at a time, and I feel fantastic. So if I were to give you the number one result of carnivore that I am pleased with, it is that one thing right there. So the other things that I had been struggling with, my skin is much better, my nails are better, they don't have ridges anymore. I purposely did not paint my nails today so that I could show you how healthy they are even without polish on them. And let's see what else. My brain is sharp. I feel fantastic as far as my mental capacity. In fact, sometimes I can't even cut it off. I sit there at night and I start thinking of all the things that I want to do the next day, and I'm feeling real good about it now. Then there's the other problem, sleep. I've always had trouble turning my brain off at night. That's when I used to always do my best thinking, and I am sleeping better every night, as long as it is cold, dark, and quiet. I still like to have the temperature at about 68, and I've got to have the room darkening curtains closed, and if Cricket moves around at night, I'm awake. But I'm able to go back to sleep now when that happens, and overall sleeping much, much better. I am down 35 pounds as of yesterday when I weighed myself. So total from when I started keto this time last year, I'm down 35 pounds. That's down 26 pounds from when I started carnivore in February. And also yesterday, for the first time in a long time, I got out the tape measure and I measured, and I was really pleased. I am down 4 inches in my waist and 3 inches in my hips and 3 inches around my rib cage below my bust is where I measured, and I can see my ribs now, and so I haven't been able to see my ribs in a while. I don't think I'm going to lose much more around my rib cage, but so that's a lot of inches. And I did not measure my legs. I forgot to measure my legs, but I will tell you that BJ and I both have noticed that my legs are a lot more toned. And the crazy thing is, there's no more cellulite. Now, I was told my whole life that cellulite is genetic and there's no way to get rid of it. And I have proven that wrong. On carnivore, I have gradually decreased the cellulite in my legs, and it's hardly even noticeable now. Even when I sit down and my legs are being pushed up by the chair, I still see muscle tone and not cellulite. So I am very pleased with all of those results. So as you know, I've started this little YouTube channel, and I'm very encouraged at the number of people who want to follow this journey, because this lifestyle is just so healing. And I truly believe that all of humanity could benefit from a diet that is somewhere on the spectrum of what Dr. Ken Berry calls the proper human diet. Now, carnivore is one of the lowest carb options on that spectrum of low carb eating, but I have really found the best results being on carnivore and not the other levels on that spectrum that I have been on before. I'm really glad that you've joined me. I hope that you've already subscribed. If you haven't, I'd love it if you do that. And stick with me to the end today because that's really important. And the number one reason that I'm going to give you that I think carnivore works is going to be one that you'll be able to use when people ask you in the future, why does carnivore work for you? There are literally dozens of reasons that carnivore works for people, depending on the issues that you had coming into this. You know, I came from a place of autoimmune disease. I had celiac that went undiagnosed for many, many years. And once it was diagnosed and I took gluten out of my diet, I did start to feel better. But a lot of the damage was done, specifically to my joints and my skin and my gut. And I do believe even to some degree to my brain. So carnivore has helped me heal those four things. I'm sure you're going to have a bunch of other reasons that you believe carnivore works, and I would love it if you would share those with me in the comments below. So be sure to stick around for my number one reason that carnivore works, because it's actually three reasons in one, and I am pretty sure that you'll agree with it and you'll be able to share it with people when they ask you why carnivore works. So I'm going to count down from 5 down to 1 because that seems to be what you're supposed to do in a YouTube video. So my number 5 reason that carnivore works is that it's ancestrally appropriate. I truly believe this is the case because humans have been on this earth for approximately 300,000 years. And it's only been in the last 12,000 years that we have been an agricultural society. Now, at that point, the reason that humans began to start farming was because they had pretty much exhausted the herds of large fauna on Earth that they had been hunting for so long. So for 288,000 years, humans were apex predators, preferring meat, fish, and poultry in their diet. Sure, they would have gathered as well. They would have gathered maybe some tubers, some nuts, and some fruits when they were in season. They would not have had access to these things year-round like we do now. All you have to do is run to the Winn-Dixie and you can get all the fruits and veggies you want, or go to Whole Foods and there's those big bins of nuts and seeds and grains that you can buy in bulk. That obviously was not available back then. So they would have preferred meat and then would have gathered other foods that were available when they were in season. So think about it. When do fruits come in season? They come in season usually late summer, early fall. So they would have gathered these up and eaten as many as they could have gotten their hands on before winter time. And in my opinion, that's just a good way to fatten up for winter. It makes me think about bears, and what they do is that they gather all these nuts and berries and eat as much as they can so that they can fatten up before hibernating for the winter. And so I like to think of fruit and nuts as being things that need to be used on a very minimal basis, that you need to expect that they might put a little bit of weight on you. For me, that comes in the form of inflammation as well. So I really have to keep those things at a very, very small amount. And since our prehistoric ancestors have been living in an agricultural society, guess what? Humans have shrunk. Our heads have shrunk. Our jaws have shrunk. Our teeth have gotten crooked. Our bones are smaller and less dense, and we're more prone to disease. Now, in full disclosure, I am a born-again evangelical Christian and also a scientist by nature. And I don't have any trouble believing this evolutionary fact. I trust that the body that God has given me and formed wonderfully and perfectly, wanting to be as healthy as possible, it wants to be healed. So I truly believe that going back to this carnivore lifestyle, a lifestyle that our ancestors 100,000, 200, 300,000 years ago would have followed is what has healed my body. Think about it. Processed foods did not become prevalent in America until the Great Depression, when food manufacturers had to figure out a way to feed people who no longer had access to large quantities of fresh foods. So the American processed food industry was born. And since the food was easy to get hold of and it was relatively cheap, it took off and it kept going. So Americans have gradually, over the last 100 years, been eating more and more processed foods and less whole foods. And you can clearly see when looking at health statistics for the last 100 years that ever since that started happening, we have also become less and less healthy. So in a world where people are not starving and food is amply available, I truly believe that a carnivore diet or a meat-based whole foods diet is the healthiest diet for human beings. This is that oxtail broth. I don't know if you watched the video that I did on oxtail, but this is the last of the oxtail broth, and I have really enjoyed this this past week ever since I tried it for the first time on Sunday. So anyway, so that is the number 5 reason I believe that carnivore works, and that is that it is ancestrally appropriate. The number 4 reason that I believe carnivore works is that it reestablishes a healthy metabolism. Now, I did not come to carnivore from a place of metabolic disaster. I don't have diabetes or insulin resistance, and my A1Cs have always been healthy. But I did always have a stubborn 30 pounds that I couldn't seem to get off. I am finally now back down to a weight very close to where I was before I got pregnant with my 3rd child when I was 30 years old. So that's half a lifetime ago. I'm 61 now. So what I think has happened through carnivore is that by giving my body ample bioavailable protein, the right kinds of amino acids, and the right kinds of fatty acids, all of these things being completely bioavailable, through that process, I believe my body has been able to reach a ketotic state, ketosis, where it's burning fat for energy, and in the process, because of all the bioavailable amino acids from the healthy animal protein, I have built muscle without even trying. Now, I was working out a little bit, but I kind of haven't been working out much in the last several months. So I've gone back to the gym to actually focus a little bit on building some muscle mass. But I have done this InBody test 4 times now, and it is very obvious that as my weight has decreased, my body fat has also decreased and my muscle mass has increased. And that is without even really trying. And we all know that muscle is more metabolically active than fat. So I think that in doing this, my body is just kicking on all cylinders. I feel great, I feel energetic, and I have more vitality. So I believe the number 4 reason that carnivore works is that it restores a healthy metabolism. So the number 3 reason I believe that carnivore works is because it removes inflammatory foods. All those years I had those 30 extra pounds I tried to get rid of, I now realize that a lot of that weight was not actually fat, but was inflammation. So even though I would have what you would call a caloric deficit and I would exercise and I was eating the right foods, I couldn't lose the weight because some of the weight was just inflammation. So now I have found that by removing those foods that are inflammatory, which are sugar, seed oils, grains, alcohol, and vegetables, yes, vegetables, I have found that by removing these things, my inflammation has gone down. Now, I can't tell you of those 30 pounds how much of it was inflammation, but I can tell you that anytime I either intentionally make a choice to consume some of those inflammatory foods or accidentally consume some of those inflammatory foods, I will gain 2 or 3 pounds of inflammation. I can feel it in my hands. I can see it in my face. I can feel it in my joints. I just become less flexible and less mobile. And it doesn't take but 2 or 3 pounds to make you feel a big difference when it comes to inflammation. I've also learned recently that toxins are stored in fat. So as you remove toxins from your body, your fat will start to go away. I don't know if that's true. I heard that recently and I was like, well, that kind of makes sense. If toxins are stored in fat and now I'm no longer putting toxins in my body can let go of the fat. And as my body lets go of the fat, it's taking old toxins along with it. So I do think that might be one of the reasons that I just feel more vital and that I'm thinking more clearly. So the number 3 reason I believe carnivore works is that it removes inflammatory foods. The number 2 reason I believe carnivore works is that it's ideally nutritious. I have come to learn that there is no such thing as an essential carbohydrate. Our body doesn't need the sugars from carbohydrates, nor does it need the fiber. We all now know that the food pyramid is a scam. Unfortunately, that little scam cost billions of Americans their lives. I'm not talking about billions of dollars because it costs that too, but it cost billions of lives because people were following this food pyramid, getting lots of grains and starches in their diet and just becoming more and more metabolically ill. As it turns out, there are no essential carbohydrates, meaning we don't need them. And to make it worse, most of the carbohydrates in our mainstream food supply are now genetically modified. Think about it. Back in the 70s, if y'all are as old as I am, Brussels sprouts were disgusting. They were bitter and hard, and you had to cook the hell out of them to even make them edible. And then in our household, I don't know what your mama did, but our mama put vinegar on everything to make it palatable. So, yeah, they have been genetically modified now. And now Brussels sprouts are a favorite. That's because they've taken the bitterness out of them and they've made them more pleasing to the American palate. Apples used to be this big and they were good, they were sweet, but they weren't the giant sugar bombs that they've become now. So genetic modification has completely changed our food supply. Let's talk about what plants have that we don't need. One of the problems with vegetables is oxalates. Having trouble with gout? Oxalates. Having trouble with kidney stones? Oxalates. I looked it up and quote, oxalates could be a hidden source of headaches, urinary pain, genital irritation, joint, muscle, intestinal, or eye pain. Other common oxalate-caused symptoms can include mood conditions, anxiety, sleep problems, weakness, atherosclerosis, prostatitis, and burning feet. That's a long list of symptoms that can occur from this one little molecule that is found primarily in vegetables. Oxalates are little crystals that have little spiky parts to them. When I think of an oxalate, I think about there's a primeval weapon called a flail. So think about it. There's this long stick and it's got a chain attached to it and then a ball with these spikes on it, right? And when I think about oxalates, I think about these molecules going through my body, just flinging that spiky ball around and literally tearing up my joints. This is why my joints have hurt for so long. Tearing up my gut, tearing up the insides of my blood vessels, my nerves, my brain. And I truly believe that it was the oxalates from the vegetables that caused a lot of this damage to my body over the years. Veggies also boast what pro-veggie propagandists call phytonutrients. They're actually phytochemicals, or could be called phytotoxins. It's the dose that makes the medicine. So over time, these phytotoxins build up in our tissues and cause problems, particularly in bodies like mine that has a defective MTHFR gene, and I have difficulty processing and eliminating toxins. So phytotoxins have been accumulating in my body over the years, and I truly believe that the carnivore diet is one of the reasons I've been able to release those phytotoxins and find health. And as it turns out, we don't need fiber. Yes, if you're putting all this American junk food in your body and you know, the potato chips and the crackers and the cookies and the sugar and the ice cream, if you're putting all that, excuse my language, crap in your body, yeah, a little bit of fiber would be beneficial to scrape it out. But when you are just giving your body healthy, bioavailable meat, it uses as much of it as it can. And the natural fat that is in the meat helps you eliminate it on a consistent basis. So take my word for it. Somebody who has come from a celiac history, my digestion is better now than it has ever been. I've been a carnivore for almost 10 months now, and I can guarantee you there are no problems with elimination. Now let's talk about what plants don't have that we do need. A diet full of only plants is definitively deficient in several vitamins and minerals. Vitamin B12, vitamin D, calcium, iodine, omega-3 fatty acids, and zinc, just to name a few. Plants also lack the complete proteins and amino acids that our body needs to build healthy tissues. On the other hand, our bodies need two macronutrients, fat and protein, and a carnivore diet gives us plenty of those, especially when the meat is consumed with its healthy fat. We need protein for so many things, including building and maintaining tissues, muscle maintenance, and hormone and enzyme production. We need fat to help us absorb the vitamins and run our brains and make hormones. And fatty acids are an integral part of cell membrane structure. We literally cannot live without fat. Once adapted to using fat and ketones for energy, our bodies can run quite efficiently and even optimally from only having fat and protein in our energy source. In addition, all of the micronutrients that we need are present in meat. It gives us everything we need and nothing that we don't. The one micronutrient that people argue is lacking in the carnivore diet is vitamin C. And yet, millions of people have reverted to a carnivore way of living, and we're not seeing an uptake in the occurrence of scurvy. So, we have to believe that for a carnivore, there is enough trace vitamin C in the food that it serves our purposes. And plus, vitamin C is an antioxidant. If you're not creating the oxidation from the free radicals from giving your body all these poisons and toxins, then perhaps you don't need as many antioxidants. So the amount of trace vitamin C that's available in meat is adequate for any carnivore. So as I was trying to come up with the top 5 reasons that carnivore works, I actually came up with 7, and I was trying to get it down to 5. So I will tell you the number 1 reason carnivore works is because it is simple, it is satiating, and it is sustainable. It's simple because the rules are simple. Eat meat, avoid plants, and avoid anything that's unnatural. You can make choices. You can choose to add other things in. But if you start out with that simple principle, eat meat, avoid plants, avoid unnatural foods, you will start to see fantastic results. At some point, you may choose to start adding some other foods back in, but that's your choice. But take note as you do that of how those things make your body feel. And it turns out if you fill your body with healthy proteins and fats from meat, it is very satiating. You don't feel hunger pangs. You don't have cravings. You can skip meals. Not that it matters because we're really not counting calories here, but I'm not hungry until 12 or 1 o'clock in the afternoon now. I used to be hungry at 7 o'clock as soon as I'd been up for a couple of hours. So now I frequently skip breakfast, jump straight to lunch, eat an early dinner, and then guess what? I'm not hungry in the evening as well. So I'm not snacking and looking for things to eat in the evening while we're watching TV or reading or whatever we're doing at night. So 2 meals a day, I eat lunch and dinner, and that's all I need. I'm not hungry between meals and I don't need snacks. And I also believe that it helps to keep me satiated during the night. So for whatever reason, I may have frequently woke up during the night in the past. If I wake up now, it's not because I'm hungry. It's not because my stomach is growling. It's not because I have flatulence, and it's not because my joints ache. If I wake up now, it's because Cricket has started moving around, or she's having a dream, or she's thumping her tail up against the wall, or something's going on outside. It takes something to wake me up now. My body is not waking me up. And the third S is it's sustainable. I've been doing this for 10 months, 300 days, and I can go on forever. I don't see a reason at this point to change what I'm doing because I feel so good. I have added spices back in and a few very low carbohydrates, and I've mentioned those in a few of my other videos. I occasionally will eat a berry, and I will occasionally eat something that has stevia in it. And by the way, stevia, stevia, tomato, tomato, potato, potato, I don't know. The person that first told me about stevia said it's a Spanish word and the Spanish language doesn't have a long E. So I don't know if that's true, but I've been calling it stevia. You call it what you want. We all know what you're talking about. Just so long as it's not something artificial and it's not real sugar, because real sugar, it'll throw me out of ketosis and into an inflammatory state in a heartbeat. So I truly feel that the number 1 reason carnivore works is the 3 S's. It's simple, it's satiating, and it is sustainable. So there you have it, my top 5 reasons that carnivore works. It is ancestrally appropriate, it restores a healthy metabolism, it removes inflammatory foods, it provides us with all the nutrients we need and none of them that we don't, and it is simple, satiating, and sustainable. I would be interested to hear what your top reasons you believe carnivore is working for you are, and would you put those in the comments below? I'd love to have a conversation about that. So I've been at this for 300 days now. So what next? I'll tell you what next. I have neglected working out at the gym for the last 5 months or so. We went on vacation to Hawaii and then we came back and got Cricket, and this YouTube channel takes up some time, and I still have my other career, and I have used lack of time as my excuse for not getting to the gym lately. So in November and December, I have committed to getting to the gym twice a week. I am using a program that I saw on Dr. Lisa Wiedemann's channel that she described, a slow burn workout program. And even though when I go to the gym now, I still have a lot of energy, I want to keep working out, I am making sure that for the sake of research, my N=1 study, that I am just only doing the slow burn workout. So I took an InBody on November 1st. I'll do another one December 1st and another one at the first of the year. And I am looking to increase my muscle mass without gaining weight. That's my goal. I am at my goal weight. I'd like to stay here. Might could lose 1 or 2 more, but those are just vanity pounds. I really don't care. I could stay at 130 pounds. For reference, I'm 5'5", 130 pounds, and I'm very happy with where I am. Weight loss was never my goal. I already feel fantastic. So this is just me tweaking a few little things to see if I can make myself feel even better. And carnivoring harder is not an option right now. We're coming up on Thanksgiving this week, and I am looking forward to having charcuterie and turkey, not fried. Can't eat the fried stuff. I'm not putting that turkey in peanut oil. There is going to be a fried turkey there, but I'm not going to eat it. So I'm looking forward to charcuterie and turkey, and I am making a beef tenderloin roast. And I'm also going to be making a carnivore custard that I saw Dr. Lisa make on one of her YouTube videos last week. So that's going to be my Thanksgiving dinner. And even though I'm not going to be having all the traditional side dishes, they're going to be there. I'm just not going to eat them. I feel more blessed this year than ever at Thanksgiving because I feel so good. I feel like I've been given my life back. I feel like I've been given years more of time to enjoy with my family and my friends, years more time to do the work that God has called me to do. And I am just so grateful for that this Thanksgiving. Thank you for joining me. It truly means a lot, especially if you stayed to this point in the video. Thank you for coming. I'm glad that you're here, and I look forward to continuing on this journey with you in the future. Bye now.